team, I hope you're all well. Today we are going to be doing my 2023 in review. I did just want to preface this video with I am filming this the day is going up. I have been incredibly unwell with a cold for the last week, and yesterday was the worst day. It was my intention to film this yesterday as close to the very end of the month as I possibly can so it was accurate, and I was so unwell. I think I left bed for 4 hours and that was it. I was in bed most of the day. I got up, had a shower, got changed, went downstairs, had some food, watched a bit of YouTube, and then got back in bed. And I was very, very unwell. So if you hear me a bit sniffly, I will try and cut it out, and coughing as well. I will do my best to cut it out, but that's what's going on. So this video may take me a little while to get through. But yeah, we're going to be doing my 2023 in review, which means looking at my stats. I know there are a lot of you out there that love this kind of video. I don't mind stats. I enjoy them. I enjoy looking at my own stats. I'm not a huge fan of talking through them, so I will do my best with this video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's basically just to look at how many books I've read this year, what things are interesting to note, what kind of books I've read this year, you know, all of that good stuff. So we're going to do that, but let me just scooch that over a little bit so I can put graphs and pie charts and all that good shit on here so you can see them. Obviously I will be looking at my computer screen, so let me just drag this over here so that we're on the same screen, so I'm not doing both. So my 2023 reading goal was 126 books. Now the reason for that was that I had a reading journal for 2023 that had spots enough for 126 books, so it just made sense to me. It's the only reason why I did it. Did I fill that reading journal to the end? No, I didn't. Am I going to go back and fill it in? No, I'm not. So I smashed that goal and I read 206 books in the year of 2023, which is pretty impressive. And if you look at my previous years as well, I have them open here next to me. 2022 goal was 2022, I'm looking at the first number, and that is that being my goal, and it's not. 2022 goal was 104 and I read 160 books. 2021 goal was 100 and I read 200 books. 2020 goal was 215 and I read 276 books. You can tell we were in the height of COVID and I wasn't working. 2019 was 100 books and I read 212, and 2018, which was my first year on Goodreads, was 20 books and I read 94. So I think that was my first YouTube year as well. So I've been on YouTube since 2018, and that was the back end of 2018 as well, because I remember joining YouTube for the magical readathon that G hosted, that at the time was HP based and not her own current magical readathon. So I remember joining YouTube for that. I found it and I was like, dude, I really want to join this. I've been thinking about joining YouTube for a while. This is a great excuse to do so. So yeah, that was right, you know, 4 months before the end of the year. So yeah, pretty impressive. 163% over my goal, which is fantastic news. Well, not 163% over my goal, 63% over my goal, which is fantastic news. So going on to my core pile, which if you didn't know is a rating system, again, G from Book Roast has made this, and I love using this every single year. I've been using it since she made them, and it just helps you keep track of your books and what you're rating them, also your page count and things like that, so doing these videos are easier at the end of the year, and B, it does help you rate your books if you struggle to rate your books like I do. So I will get to the end of a book and I will go, this was incredible and I loved it, but I'm just not 100% certain it gives me a 5-star feel. This is a really good way of rating your books, so I love using this. It's really, really good, and it makes doing this video at the end of the year so easy. So my best reading month of the year was April, which makes sense because I did 30 books in 30 days in April. I read 8,432 pages in April. My second best reading month of the year was August with 24 books, which is pretty damn good. But that wasn't my second best page count of the year. My second best page count of the year was actually October with 7,203 pages, in which I read 21 books. I don't know what I was reading in October. And overall, I did actually, including my DNFs, do 215 books this year. So I DNF'd 9 books in total. I am quite the DNFer. I am pro DNF. If I'm not enjoying a book, I'm not going to continue. There's no point. So my total pages read this year is 66,045 pages, which is pretty dang good, I'm not going to lie. And total hours listened to this year is 1,345. I listen to a lot of my audiobooks. I have undiagnosed ADHD, currently going through, I'm on the wait list for being diagnosed. And therefore that does mean that sitting around physically reading is difficult for me because I get very easily distracted. I will find 97 other very boring things to do, like washing the pots and tidying up. Things like that, that I will do instead of physically reading. So audiobooks save my life. They do count as reading. We're not going to go down that road today because I don't have the time to rant about that. They do count as reading because don't be ableist. And I love audiobooks. They're so good. They help me so much. So I can audiobook while I'm cleaning the house. I can audiobook while I am gaming. I can audiobook, and yes, I am concentrating. If I'm not, I will stop gaming. I will find something else to do, or I'll stop the audiobook. I can audiobook while making thumbnails for my videos and uploading those videos to YouTube and sorting them all out. I can audiobook while I'm sorting Patreon posts out. I can do so many things while I'm audiobooking, which is great. So I can take Instagram photos while I'm audiobooking. So I'm constantly doing something. I'm not just sat around audiobooking unless I'm following along with the book, which on occasion I do. I do enjoy doing that, but I don't do it a lot. It's usually with a book that has mixed media in it. For example, the Illuminae files. I will tend to do that. But yeah, audiobooking is how I do the majority of my reading. So there's that. And I think my November was my highest listened month. 168 hours and 168 and a half hours. So yeah, lots of audiobooks. So the split between audiobook, physical book and mixed media, because I will, if I have both the audiobook and the physical book, and I do, even if it's just to start the book off, because 9 times out of 10 I will start the book off following along with the audiobook, and then I will just listen to the rest of the book. I do put it down as mixed media instead of just audiobook, because I have at least opened the book, you know. So the split between that is 57.2% mixed media, so both audiobooking and physically reading. 37.2% physical, which the majority of those will be the likes of graphic novels, manga, any books that don't have audiobooks and Kindle books, and then 3.7% on audio, just solely on audio because I don't own the physical book. It's very rare that that happens. So yeah, like I say, the majority of my reading is done via audiobook. 96.7% of my reading was for the first time. I was reading these books for the first time, 207 of them, and only 7 books were rereads this year, which is crazy. Crazy. I really do want to try and reread more books in 2021 because I had like a pile of 5 books that I really wanted to reread in 2023, and did I just say 2021? 2024? Whatever. Because I had like a pile of 5 books I really wanted to reread in 2023 and I didn't do it. I've not reached out for any of them. So I really do want to try and do some more rereading in 2024. I find that rereading really helps me out with slumps, or if I'm just struggling to really know what to pick up, I find a reread really helps me out. So I do want to reread some more in 2024. 62.6% of my books this year were from series, which is fantastic. The final book support group is really helping me out. Whether or not all of those are final books, they were not. I can tell you that right now. They were the start of series, the majority of them. But I did finish quite a few series this year. 37.4% were standalones, so that's really good. Series, I don't know how accurate this is because I don't fully keep up with the whole series tracker thing, and it doesn't, these are only my series that I've recorded this year in 2023, not series that unless I've continued the series, not series that I started previously. So unless I continued the series this year, then none of these are series that I started previously. So 52 series started this year. Sequels read this year 69, which is good because that figure is bigger than the series started. Series finished this year 13. I don't think that's quite accurate though, because this one says series finished 15, series DNF 3, whereas my reading stats say series I will no longer continue 1. Again, if I've started the series before 2023 and then I've continued it in 2023 and then DNF'd it in 2023, that will be up to date on my series tracker, but probably not on my reading stats because obviously I've previously started the series, I think. I don't know if that makes any sense. Either way, I have read quite a few series this year and I've finished between 13 and 15 series, so that's pretty good for me. I would like to finish more next year though, so that is my goal for next year. Okay, so genre-wise, my most read genre is fantasy with 36.3%. So this will include the likes of, because I haven't read a lot. In my mind, I haven't read a lot of fantasy this year. I haven't been reaching for my chunky fantasy this year at all. So in my mind, I haven't read a great deal of fantasy, but I forget that there is middle grade fantasy, there is romantasy, and there isn't a category on Corpile for romantasy specifically. There is fantasy and there is romance. So I always put romantasy down as fantasy and then romance as a second genre, unless the romance is more apparent than the fantasy, which with the romancy I tend to pick up, it's not. It's mostly fantasy with romantic element to it. So I end up putting it down as fantasy. So 36.3% fantasy, 78 books this year. Again, that will include the likes of middle grade, romantasy, graphic novels, manga, manhwa. It will include that. Again, I've reached out massively this year with my manga and manhwa, which have been very fantasy based. My next biggest genre is romance, to nobody's surprise, 39 books with 18.1%. And then we do have horror with 12.1%, 26 books horror this year, which is shocking to me because I would never usually reach for horror. I've definitely been in my horror thriller era this year. I thought more so than it actually is. Thriller is 7% with 15 books, so it's not as much as I thought. But overall though, to be fair, that is horror and thriller together category is more books than the romance genre, which is interesting to know. Oh, well, mystery 6% with 13 books. So that entire section, horror, thriller, mystery, is more than my romance section put together, which is really, really interesting to me. Non-fiction 1.9% with 4 books. I should have read more than that. My goal for the year, I can't remember if I actually put this on my goal or not, but my goal for the year was 12, one a month, but I did not reach that. I sucked with my non-fiction this year. I do have some more though that I've recently gotten that I am really excited about, so I am hoping that maybe 2024 I can get more into my non-fiction. And contemporary was a pretty big one as well this year with 9.8% with 21 books. Again, probably mostly manga and graphic novels because I don't tend to read a great deal of contemporary anymore. Book length 51 books were between 350 and 400 pages. That is my biggest book length that I've read. Only 2 books were between 700 and 750 pages, which tracks because, again, I've not been picking up my chunky fantasy at all. So I would like to try and get that number up next year. Sorry, I need a quick water break. My throat's killing. So yeah, I would like to try and get that figure up next year, I think. Book format, we have 62.3% of novels, which makes sense. We have 17.2%, 37 manga. So I did that Gav recommends me manga video. I've been reading so much more manga this year. I have collected so much more manga this year. I'm not quite Gav, but I'm well on my way to being him. Who doesn't want to be Gav? And then novellas, 9.8%, which again makes sense. A lot of series do have novellas in them, so I've been making my way through a series, and then there's been novellas involved as well. Also like romance novellas as well, like shorter romance books. And then graphic novels, 8.4%, with 18 of those. So yeah. Okay, I'm pretty impressed with this one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I've necessarily tracked translated books before, but I would like to read more translated books, and I am surprised at how many have actually made it onto my shelves. It's not something I tend to look for purposely, it's just something that will happen accidentally with me, albeit I am keeping my eye out a little bit more now because I do seem to enjoy my translated books. So I've read 37 translated books this year, which is pretty good for me, I'm not gonna lie. 94.6% of them, 35 of them were Japanese. Makes sense with the manga and manhwa, so that does make sense. And then we have 2.7% were German, one of which was German and one of which was French. So again, pretty good. And I am pretty happy with that, but although I want to continue on with manga next year, I would like to pick up some more novels that are translated. I would really enjoy that. So the French one that was translated was a graphic novel, the German one was a novel, but I have recently gotten some new books that it turns out are translated, so I am excited about those, and I would like to read more translated fiction. So how I got the books, I'm always interested to know how I got the books and how many of each category I'm reading. So for this one, 139 of them, 64.7% I owned, which isn't too bad. I have not kept track of what's been coming in. I do not need that kind of negativity in my life, I'm not gonna lie. I probably should, but I'm not gonna. 48 of them, 22.3% were gifted, so that's pretty good. I'm making my way through my gifted books, which is awesome. And then 13 of them, 6%, were book boxes. And that's something that I've been doing more recently towards the end of the year with the new Box Readathon with my patrons. We're focusing on subscription box books, and I'm really happy about that because I really do want to focus more on subscription box books because I'm sick of paying money for special edition books I'm not reading. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of myself, quite frankly. 5 of them were just solely script, 5 of them were arcs, and what else have we got? 3 of them were just audio, Audible, sorry, 2 of them were Kindle Limited. So I do get my books in a range of different ways. So yeah, that's pretty good. All right, star rating. This will be interesting. I rated one book 1 star. Was that, I think that was The Final Girls by Stephen Graham Jones. That book was not good. I rated 6 books 2 stars, which is surprising. I never usually have that many books rated that low. I rated 43 books 3 stars. I rated 108 books 4 stars and 46 books 5 stars. I think this shows a really good reflection on how well I have been able to narrow down my reading taste. So I am very particular about picking up books that I know I'm going to enjoy, and if I don't enjoy it, I DNF it. So I'm really particular about that because I see my reading time as quite precious, and if I'm not enjoying something, there is no point in continuing it because all I'm going to do is make myself unhappy. I'm going to put myself in a slump, and I'm just not enjoying my time. So I might as well DNF it. That's the way I see things. I know some people are very adamant not to DNF. That is fine. That's entirely your prerogative. My prerogative is that I am going to DNF. If I'm not enjoying something, I'm going to DNF it. If in my brain this book is going to be less than 3 stars, there is a good chance I'm going to DNF this book. There is no point continuing. I'm not having a good time. The only reason I would continue is because I'm intrigued to see why everyone else liked it and I hate it, or I'm intrigued, I need to know how it ends. So that's the only reason I would continue, and that's clearly how I've ended up with, well, 7 books rated less than 3 stars, and 43 books rated 3 stars. For me, a 3-star read is not a bad read. For me, a 3-star read is, I enjoyed this, it was a good time, it just wasn't worth anything more than a 3-star read. But yeah, my average rating this year was 7.65 on Corpile, which is a 4-star, which makes sense. I've rated 108 books 4 stars this year. And those were obviously then split differently into the half stars as well, which I can't be bothered to go through, quite frankly. Sorry. Age category should be interesting, because I reckon YA though is interesting because that's higher than I thought it was going to be. So adult at 57.7%, 124 of my books were adult, makes sense. New adult, 10 of them were new adult, 4.7%. YA, 59 of them YA. What have I been reading that's YA this year? Thriller and horror. I still read a lot of YA thriller and horror because I enjoy it. It's a good time. I don't read YA romance or contemporary anymore. I don't read a lot of YA fantasy anymore. I am still reading it because I'm making my way through it. For example, Divine Rivals is YA, and I have read that this year, so I am still making my way through some of it because I did for a portion of time still get the Fairy Loot YA box. I no longer get that anymore because I'm not picking the books up, so I have cancelled that one, but I do get the adult one. So yeah, that'll be where the YA has come in. That makes sense. Okay, and then middle grade, 22 books with 10.2%. So that makes sense. Yeah. On top of that, I could have put all the books down that I've read with my nephew, Thomas, the children's books, but I've not bothered doing that. And this year I have actually read most from 2023, 2022 and 2021. So 2023 and 2022 are the same with 48 books each, which is pretty impressive. I've been reaching for new books more than anything, which is really, really good. 13.8% with 29 books for 2021, and then the rest of it is kind of split between all the other years. So I'm kind of happy with that because it means I'm reaching for new books, which is really good news. But also I have a lot on my shelves that are backlist and I should be reaching for them, and I'm not by the looks of things. Well, I am, but just not as much, because like over 50% are all new books in the last 3 years. So I should be reaching more for the older books, I think, especially considering I have so many of them on my shelves. Okay, written by. I have read 137 books written by women. Which isn't surprising. I do read a lot of romance, for example, and I don't know whether I prefer books written by women necessarily, I'm not sure, but that doesn't necessarily track. I do like a lot of high fantasy written by men, to be honest. For 45 books written by men, 16 books written by, not specified, so that's where I've tried to Google the author and not been able to find any information. A lot of this will be like the manga and stuff. Sometimes the authors of manga aren't necessarily known, like well known, and don't necessarily have an author profile online. So that will be that, and then multiple authors 14 and non-binary 3. I should be reaching for more books by non-binary authors for sure. There is a chance that some of that could be wrong, to be perfectly honest, as well, because I do my best to research and sometimes I do just get it wrong. So there's a chance that some of that could be wrong. I'm not sure. But next year I want to do better reaching for more diverse books for sure. Similarly, POC authors. 148 books not written by POC authors. 61 written by POC authors. And then 6 unknown. Again, the author might not have a profile or whatever, and I'm just not sure on the answer on that. So yeah, new or returning authors. New authors 40.7%, so 87 books are new authors that I've read from this year. 127 are authors that I read from before. I am quite the creature of habit. I don't tend to watch new shows very regularly. I will re-watch stuff. So yeah. And then the last one, total different authors read 156 out of 206 books, which is pretty good, I think. That is pretty awesome. My most read authors, Brandon Sanderson there has 8 books, and so does Ichigo Takano, which makes sense because I read all of Dreaming Sun this year. In fact, that should be 10 books surely, unless I started it last year. I think I started it last year. So Ichigo Takano with Dreaming Sun makes sense. Brandon Sanderson with 8 also makes sense. This year I did just finish Warbreaker. I read the last, not the last 2, but not the new one from Mistborn Era 2, but the 2 in between. Finally finished those off. And then I read a bunch of middle grade? No, I didn't. I read a bunch of novellas from Brandon Sanderson as well this year. Devney Perry with 4 though. Makes sense. Alice Oseman with 4. I've just smashed out Heartstopper volumes 1 to 4 a couple of days ago. On the build up to reading Heartstopper volume 5 for my first book of 2024. Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valente, 5 books from them too, because obviously I was started making my way through the Zodiac Academy and then jumped over to the Ruthless Boys series. R.F. Kuang, 4. I finished Dragon Republic and Burning God. I DNF'd Babel. What else did I read from? I didn't read Yellowface yet. What else did I read? Oh, I don't know. Chris Broadbent, 3. I read the, where are you? The Crowns of Nyaxia series this year, all of it. That was a good time. Stacey Marie Brown with 3. Makes sense. Who's there? 5. Anna Huang with 5, because I read the Twisted series, and then I have read the first in the, I don't know what the series is called, but the King of Wrath series. That series. So yeah. Those are all of my stats, which I think is pretty impressive, to be honest. I think I had a great year. There were ups and downs. My DNFs were phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. If you've seen my most disappointing DNFs of the year, that wasn't all of my DNFs. I suddenly realised going through Callpile the other day that I didn't tell you them all, but I did tell you the worst ones, I think. There were a few on there that I was gutted about that I'm sad I haven't been able to continue, but it was solely based on the writing, so I didn't have anything negative to say about the books, so I didn't want to add them in. But yeah, it's been a pretty good reading year, to be honest, and I'm pretty impressed with how well I've done, considering there's been ups and downs this year as well in general with life and things like that. I've been really much more busier with work, with YouTube and the shop and things. Obviously we've been busy in our home life as well. I now have a partner who I've had for a while, obviously. I've had him for a while, but he you know, we require each other's time, which was something I wasn't used to giving until we got together. So there's that as well. I am socialising quite a bit more. I've been on a few trips this year. We've been on a trip with the girls. I went to Scotland with family. Jade has been up, the girls have been up, I've been down to Jade's. It's been a really good year and I'm really happy, and next year I am pretty excited about what's to come. I don't know how well my reading's going to go next year. My goals video is coming up tomorrow, so keep your eyes open for that, but I don't know how well I'm going to do with my reading goal for next year, because I do have quite a lot planned. We have a trip to Egypt planned in April, myself and my partner. I've got ticket for Rare in Edinburgh in September. I'm supposed to be going to New York in October. Again, if you are interested in coming to New York with me, I am doing a trip with Trove Trip for October next year, right before Halloween. We will all be back in our own places for Halloween, but it is a 5-day trip to New York City, and I'm really excited, and I really hope you want to come with me because I'm really hyped and I really want to go, and I really want to meet you guys, and I really want to go shopping with you, like book shopping with you, and see the sights. New York City is my favorite place in the world, if you didn't know. It truly is. I've been twice. I went 10 weeks before 9/11 happened, and then I went for my 21st, and I haven't been since. I'm now 34 years old, and it breaks my heart because I love it. It is the place I feel the most at home in, other than my own home, and it is a truly special place in my heart, and I would love to explore it with you and see the city in a different light as well. Like, and one of my favorite things is going to be seeing it through Jade's eyes. So she will be coming with us, and I'm really excited. She's never been, so to see New York City through somebody's eyes who's never been before is my favorite thing, and I'm really hyped to do that, and also do the book shopping, do the touring, spend some time with you guys, getting to know you and making so many new friends. I'm so excited. So if you're interested in coming on the trip, or even just finding out more information, I will leave a link in the description box down below to my page, so you can go and check it out. You can find out the price. The price does not include flights, travel insurance, but it does include the transfer to and from the airport. It includes the hotel, it includes food, not all of your food, because obviously we are given the opportunity to mooch through the city and taste things from the city as well, but all your breakfasts are included, and a couple of evening meals as well. And it includes all the excursions as well. So we have quite a few trips going on throughout the trip that we can go on, and you don't have to do any of them if you don't want to, but we also get quite a lot of free time, which is fantastic. Our third day, the middle day of the trip, is an entirely free day for us to do as we please. So I'm thinking lots of book shopping, go and see some sites that we haven't had chance to go and see yet, or won't be on any of the tours in general. For example, I would like to go and see the memorial fountains down at Ground Zero, and see the new One World Trade Center. And yeah, if you're interested in coming, I'll leave the information in the description box down below. Please do check it out. I've also got a highlight on my Instagram that with lots of answers to questions. So if you've got any questions, feel free to message me, but there are answers to some of the questions on there if you wanted to check it out. I've got quite a few traveling plans next year, and also with the plan for Andy to move in next year. He's finally doing his lessons, so once he passes his test he can move in. We have a lot planned, and I now have 2 nephews as well. So there is a lot going on next year, and I would really like to focus a lot on YouTube and also the shop as well. We have big plans for the shop too, but I would like to also spend time with family and friends, and those things are important, you know. It's not just all about reading. My brain was like, what are you talking about? Of course it is. You know what I mean though. So yeah, I don't know how confident I am about my goal, my reading goal for next year, but we will see whether or not I smash it. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below. What was your goal? What did you read this year? Did you hit your goal? And just because some people read 200 odd books in a year, it does not mean that if you are reading only 50 or 30 or 100 books, don't compare yourself to other people. I do this as a full-time job. Like, reading is my job. So some people will be like, oh my god, have you not got a job? And I'm like, well yeah, this is my job. This is my full-time job. I have a part-time job with my dad 2 days a week, and then the rest of the week is my time to read and make content. So to be honest, if I wasn't making the content and my job was just to read, I would be reading so much more. But in order to make content, I have to read, you know? So it's kind of the job. So don't compare your reading to other people's. If you've read 1 book this year, you are doing a lot better than a lot of the world, because a lot of people just don't read, you know? And they should, because it's good for the soul, and it's good for the mind and the heart, and it's just good for everybody. But whatever your goal was this year and whatever you've read, you smashed it. You're amazing. Congratulations, because it's not easy, you know. Sometimes it's hard to find the time to just sit down and read for a few hours. It's really difficult. It's my job, and I struggle with that sometimes. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below, and I hope that you have a fantastic New Year's Eve, and I will see you in tomorrow's video, which will be my 2024 goals. Bye for now.